All right, so I have this set up. We're going to theoretically be able to speed watch all four versions. I'll talk a little bit over the beginning and then we'll get started. Everything's everything here should be muted. Great. It is. And that was me just moving my script over to the other monitor so I can read it a little bit easier. So, let's go through our thoughts on the first first section through beating Nybeth and returning to uh, Almorica. First, I think all four versions are still fun. There's not a bad version thus far. Um, I thought that the PSP version would be a bit clunkier than it was, but so far it's not really come through yet. The grinding might become an issue later on, but so far not that bad. I feel like as you sit here and watch through the opening for the PS1, the language I assume because of their limited character and text boxes is a little more brusque. It has a different mood than the other three, and you can see with one vision we're sort of sprinting ahead because we skipped the comparison here, and you can see again language is pretty similar between Reborn and PSP. I think almost perfectly exact. We get some differences in the original version. Vice is a little more foul mouthed. We get a lot more highbrow language later. So, mattering on your tone, that might make a difference for you. Also, as you watch, if you watched through the others, you'll know that I have, for some reason, decided that the traditional opening for any Tactics Ogre game is smacking your sister. So, if you haven't already done that, please embrace this tradition. This should be a thing we just all do instinctively. So one other thing, I think I've noticed this before, but it didn't really become apparent until playing through the opening this many times back to back. But we come out of one building here to ambush lands. I assume you can see my mouse. You kind of can. It's tiny. We come out of this building to ambush land, and then we take him to our hideout, which is down to the southwest. It bothered me before, and it bothers me more the more times I sit here and watch it. It really it's a an identical hideout. So, does this mean that we have like two hideouts? The hideout that we keep for our guests, and then the hideout for Denim and Company. I don't know, but there's a couple of weird things at the start. Agar's still insists he can recognize or is it Papal? One of the bosses insists he can recognize a man of Lotus, and he's talking to a bunch of Zenobians and Wallistinians, people from Wallister, uh, which makes the opening feel a little weird. I thought they would have. I remember him saying that, and I thought, oh, they must have fixed it in Reborn, and I just didn't remember. But no, everyone still thinks that they're from Lotus. Um, when we get to the actual party building, I feel like the PlayStation 1 version is still the most straightforward. I think we have one witch at this point. I think one of the our people has actually classed up. Everyone else is still their base class of soldier Amazon, except for Denim's gotten up to be a wizard. So when we get to the PSP version, I feel like I didn't spend enough time picking and choosing skills and spells. I also know that I'm going to regret my decision to make Canopus a cleric. He's great at everything. That feels like a big waste of his stats, but I've never made him a cleric before, so there's a first time for everything. One vision I have turned out to I really like. I like our different weapon options being available early on. I need to really spend a little more time looking through the skills there as well. I feel like I kind of rushed through to Nybeth on all of these, which is one of the reasons I had a little more trouble than I would have liked on him. But other than that, also I've been a little sloppier than I should be. But anyway, when it comes to one vision, I need to do a better job of remembering things. I do like that that Kachua is blue, so she matches our team. Um, and I like that Gildas and Mildane are a little bit different now, so it's easier to tell them apart. I like that about One Vision. I wish Reborn had, thought to do something like that. If we look here, I liked this idea in the PlayStation 1 version, but it was all kind of random unless you look up a spreadsheet of what these prayers do. It could have been more interesting, but I think ultimately the cards, the tarot cards, it's closer to what we do in March of the Black Queen. It also kind of reminds me of Ultima. Uh, I think the cards are a little bit cleaner than this, and the expanded elements is kind of nice in Reborn. Speaking of Reborn, um, like the PSP and One Vision, we actually have different classes available to us at the start, which is a nice change of pace. Um, I think I'm gonna try and make Denim a beast tamer and try and use monsters because I usually don't use monsters, and so I kind of want to try and do something a little bit new over there. So we'll see how fast we can turn into a beast tamer and get myself some griffins and dragons. I think we can get a dragon at the Sisteena fight, but I don't know if we'll be able to be a beast tamer by then. I don't think so. Anyway, what else is there to say? The the Zenobians, it feels like drag out these fights a lot longer than I remember. And maybe it's just a factor of Canopus flying off to the southwest to show us how flying works compared to the other version, compared to the PlayStation 1 version, which I feel like I have a much stronger memory of than the PSP version. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about our generic nobodies. We've got a wizard who's going to stay as a stat as this generic wizard class. Uh, our two our two female casters. One is going to set up to become a siren slash damage dealing caster. The other one's going to pivot into doing status effects, which for the PS1 version basically means gain levels when possible as an archer and be a witch only for the fights that matter, and then become a ninja or potentially archer, but I think ninja gets both stun and envenom, and also concentrate and stop. So I think ninja for Reborn is what she's going to have, so that she can do a little more status ailments that aren't just casting spells. Are any of these anywhere near done Almorica yet? No, they're not. So uh, I'll give us some music, and then when we get to Tenmouth Hill, actually, let me just go through everything, and then I'll be quiet for the back half when we're actually as things go. Tenmouth Hill was a pretty simple fight. I got a little over aggressive because I forgot to equip healing items, and just overall, it took a little bit to remember how lethal the PS1 version can be. Uh, but other than that, I don't think we had any real trouble on Tanmouth Hill. Even the training battles in One Vision and PSP, I feel like Tanmouth Hill easy. Excuse me. Saving presence also easy, except for when I didn't realize that we needed another level so we could actually do exorcisms. Once we did that, saving presence was easy. Let's see. One thing though that both the Crucero and Tanmouth Hill have is that you don't get your full team in the PSP One Vision Reborn, and I do like just having my full team able to deploy from the start. Uh, I don't see a lot of value in your team slowly growing. It's less of an issue, I think, in PSP because of the class leveling system, but in Reborn, you just kind of reach to this point where all of a sudden you got a new person. I guess you could just recruit someone mid fight and so they're not at a level disadvantage, but it just feels a little awkward. So thumbs down on that for the later versions. Though they're going to have a lot of good things about them, especially when we get past to World and Coda, where they're that enough is a good enough reason to pick them over the PlayStation version. But we're nowhere near that yet. We're just getting up to Nybeth, which I had forgotten. I think the line in the PlayStation version where Nybeth isn't away or not at the castle. He's on vacation, which is a funny visual when you think about it. You just sort of get this image of him being a necromancer on the beach, relaxing, and put his research aside for the day to go on vacation. Someone runs up and is like, "Hey, boss, Almorica has fallen," and all of a sudden this is why he's so annoyed when he sees you later, because he had one vacation day and you've ruined it. So he's packing up the beach chair, yelling at Moldova to we're cutting the vacation short, and it's a silly image by saying that he's on vacation, but the later versions, by wording it slightly differently, get rid of this hilarious vision of Nybeth on vacation. So, in the PlayStation 1 version, we can get skeletons and ghosts when we fight Nybeth. Later on, you can get zombies. I didn't try to recruit anyone in the PSP One Vision mod, but in Reborn, I've never used zombies in really any of my playthroughs ever. So I grabbed one before I remembered they don't get experience except through charms. So we probably also won't be using a zombie in this playthrough. We'll save her and we'll fill her up with charms when we come back to do the chaos and law routes. We'll use a zombie there. I do miss that you can't just recruit people in the towns. Particularly, I liked being able to just get my lizard and hawkman by doing town recruiting. But whatever, we get Farampa early enough in Chapter 2 that I don't think it's that big of an issue. And I think Lake Bordeaux has hawkmen, maybe lizardmen too. So as long as you're not going that far without being able to get them. I think you could get other cool stuff earlier in the PlayStation 1 version. I know I saw that I could hire golems. So you get a little bit more variety that way, but you definitely have more class variety earlier in the later versions. I guess we'll just talk a little bit about, I mentioned it earlier. You can tell I'm rusty and careless, but hopefully that'll be going down now that we're a little bit further along. I think Nybeth is the hardest fight in Chapter 1, though saving Sisteena might prove to be a problem for me now that I've said that and put it in a recording. I usually find saving her pretty easy, though I'm willing to bet this time around I'm gonna eat my words because I said that. Anyway, let me just read over what I have. I think that covers everything I wanted to talk about. I'll let the rest of the videos run. They're sped up, I think, as much as VLC Media will let me. So you can sort of see them all synced up together. And I'm gonna unmute one. Yeah, the music isn't that bad sped up on the PlayStation 1 version. So yeah, I'm gonna mute myself. I guess I want to save my script so I have it for next time. So yeah, I'm gonna mute myself, and yeah, you can just sort of see them play out. They're not perfectly synced up because they had different things. Oh, look, it is Union. Oh, I didn't realize that. Anyway,
we should just see what everyone has to say if we try and kick them out before we continue.
Oh, hey, that's right. I'm gonna have voiceover in these. Um, well, I know for next time that I should get a music on loop from somewhere else. So there we go. Enjoy watching the four versions play through, and you can sort of see some of the differences. And there we go. I'm now going to mute myself. So you'll hear me talking from the PlayStation 1 version, but that's just so that there's not dead silence as you watch this. This is the opening of the game. Gildis Burn, that's the name. Alright, there we go. Miscellaneous. Five dead at the parade. There's a 30 unit limit. Okay, good to know. I don't think we have to read anything in chapter 1 to trigger stuff later, but, you know, just in case. One more save. Off to Amorika.
Fight it out.
I also missed the fight it out noise, voice line. They should have kept that. Then he moves over here into the most inconvenient spot. I thought he went to the weird little, like, peninsula over there. Huh.
That's the sleep one. Do I have the right stats for the old version written down? Because I think I don't have the right list of stats. Points, strength. No, I do. Okay. That was +1 mentality. Thank you, money, and then money. That cure plus probably just turns into money. But not too far behind. We might want more cards. Okay. Castles consist of several maps, continuous battles. You can edit your unit in between maps. You cannot save the game. And also note, damage stays in this version between maps. Yes, we're ending the edit mode. Into Amorika. I do like Nybeth better than Nybeth. He's on vacation. Nybeth has an interesting idea of what vacation should be. He's spending time with family. And I like how you can sort of see if it's going to hit or not by whether the unit turns to faces and stops. Blink. Yeah, this isn't even... And it's over. Lance and Warren probably are a little offended at being called kids. So this gives you the timeline. March of the Black Queen about 2 years ago. This is what we always would name it, because it was what we called... Oh, no, it doesn't fit. I guess I've gotten used to the old one. Space. No. Fine, we're just gonna name it... Okay, we're Team PS1. Where are numbers? Did I miss them? Are there no numbers? There's the numbers. Cries are, we're gonna help Leonard, who's after Nybeth on vacation. 20,000 goth. Alright, we're gonna immediately fire all of these people after we strip them of their stuff. Baker, Daniel, Feldman, Gordon... Sorry, you're all going to be asked to leave very quickly. I think Lance has some things to say to us, yep. No Ravnus. First things first, like I said. Can we get our Hawkmen here yet? Ooh, do we want a Golem? I don't think we want a Golem. I never really use Golems, but I don't remember them being particularly great. Goodbye, Baker. Goodbye, Daniel. Goodbye, Feldman. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Anna. Goodbye, Pasa. Goodbye, Susan. Goodbye, Bridget. And alright. So first things first, I don't want to go home. I thought about it. We don't want to go home. So here we can only have up to 30 units. It's not as big of a deal though because there is no world system, so there's no real issue. We're gonna be really poor because here, let's save real fast because one thing that's important to remember is the party size. Unlike in the later versions where we're gonna save successful. Unlike in later versions where you start with a relatively small team until it fills out to the full amount. Here, we immediately have 10 people So we really have that we can deploy from the very start. Now we'll reset. I'm just grabbing my little list over here of people we want, and while I'm doing that, we'll sorry, I obsessively like to keep track of things, so I just have this Google sheet over here. Alright, do I have the right amount now? Alright, yes. Yes, I do. Alright, so we're going to walk back and forth. I think in Amorika we can eventually get ourselves a Hawkman. Which this is also something different in the later versions. You gotta recruit skill. It takes you a while. Like you saw, we could have had a golem going into the very first map if we wanted to, but we don't. No golems. We want a Hawkman. Now, do we really need one? Because we could get cannabis right away. I don't know. I just remember my first time through, I really liked Hawkman, and then I learned I could do this my second time through. I recruited a Hawkman, and I think his name was Benedict, because that's what I've always named him every time going forward. I'm pretty sure it's Amorika, not Gryet. Well, I guess first, here, let's go down here. So recruiting people is a little bit different because there's no class marks, so we always recruit a basic level 1 person, and we get to decide everything. So we'll have our first person will be our namesake. Oh, his name doesn't fit. Well, that's fine. There. I like Earth. I feel like I'm an Earth person. Yes, I want to be lawful, so I can be an exorcist. Next, I want a person who's going to become a wizard to a warlock, so I think they need to be neutral. And for some reason, I have him written down as being named Curtis. We'll want them to have some support spells, so water, not chaotic, no. Warlocks can be lawful, right? I feel like warlocks can be lawful. But I think wizards can't. I think wizards have to be neutral. Have to be neutral or chaotic. This is how long it's been. I used to know this stuff completely. I think all of my... I thought I knew this off the top of my head, but I don't want to get too far in and be wrong about it. Wow, everything is all crowded out by the PSP version. There we go. I'm pretty sure I want him to be neutral, so we're just gonna go ahead and there we go. Neutral is what we want. Next, we have Alkin, who's going to be our physical bruiser, so he's going to be a berserker and then a terror knight. So he needs to be chaotic, and we haven't got a fire guy yet. Fire, yes. Nope, obviously not lawful. chaotic. That's perfect. And finally, we want our dragoon, our dragon and monster killer. We don't have an air yet, so air. I think that's Chachua. There we go. Just so we have some for later. We'll buy some staves. We'll buy a short sword.
I'm just gonna move the PS1 version ahead a little bit so it syncs up a bit better.
Even though ultimately we'll end up not wearing much armor. Level 3 is where we want to be. It's been a long time. Why am I saving again? I just saved.
Play it out.
All right. Who's gonna sit out? Curtis should come. All right, let's see if this is the right level, or if we're gonna have a bad day. He's got an adorable hat. Okay. Oh, good. I was right. Level 3. So ideally, we'll try and recruit Nina here to steal her stuff. Oh, good. She hates her boss. All right. All right. Great, great, great. Definitely out of range. Also probably out of range. Yeah. Well, oops. But we're in range now. That's alright. Catchwell will fix it. I remember the first time through I didn't listen to lands and we didn't train. And this was a bad time. Denim, your job is to just rush her and steal her spear and boots. Alright, Vice, come up here. Man, Vice, you're such a disappointment. Canopus will be fine. Ooh, what kind of card is that? A life card? If possible, we'll let Muriel pick it up because I don't think the hit points will ever matter, but you know. Good job, Blaine. Good job. I don't think you needed that cannabis, but fine. Thank you. Don't. No, his Canopus gonna kill her. Alright, let's come over here. Ah, that's bad. Alright. Is she gonna make that shot? No. Well, that's a shame. Alright. Oh, okay, they deploy differently. so there is no spear for us to steal this time. Alright, Vice, thank you for plugging that hole. Need to be careful of getting into that formation. Yeah, she should take that shot just in case we can reduce the number of incoming attacks. There we go. Maybe we should make our first breakpoint after Tynemouth Hill, just because this took longer than I thought. Alright, Blaine is gonna need some healing. Alright, when is Alkin going? He's going next. There we go. We've now set up 2 people that he can get a kill on, because his goal is to become a Terror Knight, so he needs to kill lots of people. Rice is at 9. Okay, Alkin's not going to get to go next. Okay, well. Ramona run away. No cards this time around. It's a fire burn. Okay. Alright, Vice, how much do you do? Oh, you end the fight. Awesome! He drops fire burn, right? Awesome. Yes, obviously. Welcome to the team, Canopus. I really hate that view. And I really hate that at some point I'll go back and I'll make the controllers something a little bit easier. Organize. Can I organize how I want? No. There isn't a manual organization. Okay. Can move anywhere. And who was my Valkyrie supposed to be? Alright, so every other playthrough on the PS1 version, I've always gotten presents. Do the monsters level up here? So this time we may let presents have an unfortunate accident. And I think this is also there are, there are skeletons here, right? Yes, okay. Where are the reinforcements? Nybeth's vacation causes so much trouble for everyone. Alright. Does he get put to sleep? Okay, good. That might make saving him harder. Okay, that's a skeleton we can try and get. Okay. What about Ghosty here? Alright, and then you don't have anything cool. Alright, so our goal is to recruit this skeleton. If we can also get the ghost, even better. That's probably out of range. If an unfortunate accident occurs to Presence, I think we're fine with that. I know the odds are basically really low, but... Are you gonna stun him? I forgot how bad being in water was. Oh, he might get to survive. Oh right, they teleport. Huh. Maybe we do. Well, the ghost is really far out of the way. Yeah, 2 of the nights he needs to be a Terror Knight. Or 2 of the kills he needs to be a Terror Knight. Okay, that's gonna be bad. Move away. Okay. Oh, Valentin's name runs a little bit off the map. Fire, air. I think the air skeleton. Just put that one down for a little bit. Oh no, don't! I thought he would heal himself. Alright, well, maybe no skeletons. Let's keep Presence hurt so he'll heal himself instead of exercising the skeleton. Alright, Vice is going to go attack the witch, so let's not weaken her too much more so he doesn't accidentally end the fight. That means he might... Yeah, we'll have to hit Presence again. I would like it if we could see the percentage, but... Alright, that'll buy us. I think we'll get, what, 2 more chances to get the skeleton? I don't think we have an angle to do this, but put Rice to sleep. Shame. Do we stun Vice and buy a little more time for Skeleton? Nope. Alright, can we force Presence to heal himself again? Alright, good. So I think that gives us, what, 1 more skeleton attempt? Ah, darn it. I would have thought he would go and attack someone who wouldn't kill him on the counter, but, you know. Well, we can live without a skeleton. There we go. That gets Vice's level. Sure. Sarah and Volta, welcome to the team, though I don't think I'll use them. Thank you, presents. Is Nybeth level 3, or is he a higher level? Ooh. Yeah, we'll grab ourselves a lizard man. Radish. Okay. I feel like they should always be water. I guess we can tell by what level Sarah and Voltaire are. They're 5. Okay. so we have Tilly here. We say we want to be a status inflictor, so I don't think she'll gain a level in this fight, so we can turn her into a witch. Give her stun. Oh, she doesn't have the MP to use stun yet. Well, that's funny. Well, at least she'll look different from everyone else. Alright. Let's see how terrible this first fight with Nybeth is.
Fight it out.
We will indeed fight it out. Okay. Alright, I think it'll be an interesting fight. Fort Careless. Alright, another chance to get skeletons. I think we're going to kind of rely on Leonard to lead the charge here. Maybe we do want her to level a bit in Witch so that she gets some more MP. Oh, are these things not level 5? Did we over-level? Judging by that damage, yes. Ah, Vice is gonna steal that kill. Oh, I should have healed someone. Whoops. Alright, that should stick Nybeth in place, and now he's not really able to do much. Are we gonna shoot over the wall right into it? Okay, good. Actually, Nybeth might be able to jump up there. No, he can't. Okay. Someone's in range for you to heal, right? Okay. Probably can't make that shot. You've succeeded in persuading the enemy. We have Otto the skeleton. Alright, I guess we should end this now. We've made great progress. He's gonna remember us. Yep, farewell. Welcome to the team, Otto. You're only level 4? Okay, we're gonna get our skeleton. Actually, we can just, in case we, do we get into a random encounter? Okay, here's where we'll get our skeleton to level 5. We probably won't ever really use Sarah and Voltel on this file. I'm sorry, Voltaire. Kill all enemies. It's just that little group of 4 over here. Do any of them have any cool equipment I should be worried about? Bow, sword, spear? Nope, okay. Ah, that's probably too far. Oh no! I hope he doesn't kill him so that Alkin can. Okay. I should give Alkin a bow, shouldn't I? Alright, so compare 5 damage, 13 damage. That should guarantee that Al can control that guy. And we come here. Vitality. I think that needs to go to. We're trying to make. Where is it? Yeah, that'll go to that guy. Who are you gonna shoot? Skeleton. Excellent. Three vitality. There we go. 2 kills to get Alkin closer to being a terror knight. Is that just a luck card? I don't care as much about those. Who's hurting? Before I forget, that was Vit plus 3. That's a lot. There we go, though. That should get our skeleton up to 5. Or not. 99, okay. Okay, fine, we'll do this quick. Alright, we're gonna do literally just 1 round of training to get... Oh, you know what? We should give Denim a staff instead of a sword. That might be why his spells haven't been that impressive. There we go. And back to Amorika. So go to Fiduck and back room. No longer with the kingdom, right? To buy better equipment. Okay, we can do that. Boss, there's not any better equipment to buy. Do we want a golem? No, we don't want a golem. When we come back, when we do the Law of the Chaos route, we'll get a golem there, and we'll see if there's anything to do. News, rescue, Broadway. Alright, so there we are. That is the opening of the PlayStation version. Some of the key things here. You see that our army doesn't really get to start differentiating itself quite yet. We have a witch who doesn't have any spells because her mana is not high. Denim just barely qualifies for a different class than soldier. Where we do get to get some specialization is it's easier. We were able to get ourselves... Okay, wait. So, what did we do wrong? Maybe we did nothing wrong. That's okay. I don't think I can handle that. Yeah, not at all. Maybe we need... I think we might need to, no, I'm not gonna save. Alright. That's not gonna actually help a lot of upgrades. That's not gonna actually help a lot of upgrades. Alright. I actually don't think this is gonna change our damage that much. It's number 5. Let's see if we get advantage, we'll do magnetism.
there you are, all 4 versions, all the way through the return to Almorica after beating the Necromancer. You don't need to see us re-equip, and that was just embarrassing on the PSP version that it took us that much longer than everything else. All right, we'll be back for the next leg.